Welcome to another weekend here on the platform. My name is Omatseye. My column will be read to you now.
Godwin Emefiele has defied all laws, economics, and decencies to declare for president. I don't want to dwell on it, as in the past that forced his minions to buy a full-page newspaper advert to attack me. For now, leave the legality to the courts and political process. I just want to think math here. Who are the farmers who bought the farm? Shall we know them by name? I ask because his farm theory and practice have not given Nigeria enough rice for profit. Rice is far more costly now than when he became CBN chief. Most of the rice consumed come from smuggled goods. Where did they make enough profit to cobble together 100 million naira to buy a farm? It means they make billions of naira. Even Mayfield will laugh at that. A seller will give out excess only from profits. That's basic math and common sense. He needs to confess, just like Malami did about the vehicles. We don't have customers of his rice, so where's the profit? His rice pyramid has turned out to be a white rice elephant. Hence, I'm asking, who are those shadowy rice merchants who make profit without sale and sale without produce, produce without a market? That must be Mayfinomics.
Welcome to Big Talk. I have a special guest today on the platform, and it's no other than Umo Eno, who is an aspirant for the governorship of PDP in Akwa Ibom State. Welcome to this show, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Good to see you here.
Now, my first question to you is, why do you want to be governor of Akwa Ibom State?
Good question. To be governor of Akwa Ibom State, first, you have to be ordained by God to lead the people and to serve the people. It's a servant leadership kind of calling to be able to connect the dots. The present government has taken Akwa Ibom to an enviable height in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of peace and prosperity of the state. And so there is a need to continue to give that governance to the people and to serve the people, connect the dots, and bring to bear the ingenuity of the total person in Akwa Ibom to be able to build the spirit of enterprise and build our local economy, which before now has largely been shipped out. Other people enjoy the local economy. Our people are not really participating in this local economy. So to be governor of Akwa Ibom State is to connect the dots between infrastructural development of in the state, between the peace and prosperity of the state, and ensure that you bring the people together to benefit and derive the benefits that abound in all of these things. Otherwise, you could have infrastructure and yet the people are not benefiting from it. That's why I believe there's a call upon my life at this time as someone who's been an entrepreneur almost all his life to step in and bring the people into the place where we can work with our hands and then stop depending fully on government and handouts that hitherto have dotted the landscape of our state.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Recently, the governor of the state, Udom Emmanuel, said you're the chosen one. How did he convey that information to you?
Well, I don't know about the chosen one. I know that I have the endorsement of His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel, which is a very big plus in the race. But again, you understand that for him to have done that endorsement, he had looked at everyone in this race. He's the one occupying the seat currently, and each and every one of us have had the privilege of working with them. So he knows us, he can understand each and every one of us. He knows our capacity, he knows our competence, he knows our character. It came to me as a surprise though, but I must tell you, I do not take that for granted. We have consistently worked around the clock to have the confidence of Akwa Ibomites, both in the state and in diaspora. And I believe that in the last couple of months, we have shown with the things we have put forward to them, the blueprints and the roadmap we have, that we have the competence and we have the capacity and character to take the state to the very next level.
Why do you use the expression we? It's kind of Shakespearean.
Well, governance is not a single person. I'm not going to do it alone. It is the state where governance is a team of people. The real truth here is, in the footsteps of the Governor Odom Gabriel Emmanuel, we want to continue to demystify governance. We have to demystify governance and get the people involved. The people must be involved in governance, and until they see it as a collective dream, you have not achieved anything.
That's a good way to look at it. Now you are a pastor, and a lot of people have said, what is a pastor doing in politics? I mean, there's some people say, politics is actually a dirty game, and people who have put their hand in the work of God should not put their hands in the unclean thing. The Bible says that touch not the unclean thing, and politics is supposed to be the unclean thing. What is a pastor going to say? Pastor says thou shalt not kill. There was a lot of violence in Akwa Ibom State before Udom came, and we've seen that there's peace in that state. But you need to put your hand dirty in order to be in politics. So what are you doing? Jesus Christ said, "My kingdom is not of this world." So what are you doing there?
Well, clearly, Governor Odom Emmanuel has shown that you can clean up politics. He has played a very clean politics. You will not hear, even his worst critics will tell you, he has maintained peace in Akwa Ibom State. After God is government. Government decides everything on earth. And so if a pastor who wants the well-being of his people, he wants the well-being of his flock, he prays for them to get healed, he prays for them to get good things of life, and God says to you, he calls you into a larger place where you can be part of ensuring that from that small sheep and that small flock you were superintending over, God makes you to superintend over the larger Akwa Ibom State and bring those things you have always wanted to the people. I believe that it is pastoral work is not limited to one small congregation. It's who you are. And having been trained to be a pastor, it was again quoting the scripture. David said, "The same God that was with me to take care of my father's little flock will help me in this greater assignment." So if you've taken care of that church faithfully, God is just moving you to take care of a larger congregation, which is the Akwa Ibom congregation, if you get what I'm talking about in quote and unquote. So it's still the same you. You're bringing the same principles. You're bringing the same ideas. You're bringing the same humane spirit. You're preaching peace. You're preaching prosperity. You're preaching the good welfare for the people. So who should really be in politics? And if it's dirty, if the pastor can preach and convert a sinner, then you can go into politics and make it clean.
But so talking about clean and dirty politics, before Udom came, there was violence and all that all over the state. And there are speculations now that some of those forces also coming into politics again. And how do you react to that? Because they said that there are some people who were involved in some of the bad blood of the past also coming. How true is that? And what's your reaction to that view?
Just like in any village, I tell you, everybody in a village knows each other. Akwa Ibom State knows those who were part of the previous governance that brought about all of the killings, all of the kidnapping. And so we know them. And so I believe the Akwa Ibom voters, particularly as we go into Congress, the primaries, they know what they want. We've seen the difference it's like the difference between night and day. You know those you shouldn't be voting for, because making the attempt to vote for them under any disguise will take us back to those dark days. And we certainly don't want to go back to those dark days. They know each and every one of us, they know our antecedents. They know what we believe and what we stand for. It doesn't matter how much we paint it, doesn't matter how much we try to make people believe, but we know all of this. And so we like to honestly appeal to the electorates, the delegates that will be voting at these primaries, that the future of Akwa Ibom is in their hands. And then they would have done their analysis to ensure that people who were part of that culture of killing, kidnapping, culture that have no respect for human sanctity, don't get back again to the saddle of governance. Because Akwa Ibom State really is a state dedicated to God. And never again will we allow anyone who will bring us back to that dark days to be in governance by the grace of God.
Well, you have a background in business, and it's just like it's kind of a threefold thing. You're a technocrat, you're in business, you're also a pastor. And the business part of you interests me here because Governor Odom Emmanuel himself governed by bringing his acumen as a corporate man into governance in Akwa Ibom State, and some of the things that he's doing, like the coconut factory that is being launched now in Akwa Ibom State and so on, which some people see that is one of his high points in governance and so on and so forth. How are you also going to do that? Are you going to continue with what he has done? Do you have criticisms of some of the things he has done that you want to reshaping? Because governance is a continuum.
Business, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a very good startup person. I started the hotel business. I'm a hospitality practitioner. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Hospitality. And we started from scratch, from 5 rooms in 1997 to the conglomerates that we have right now in Akwa Ibom. We become a household name, the Royalty Group. Now, the sense here is, in rejigging our local economy, you need a strong entrepreneur, someone who knows how to support startups. After the COVID, well, I wouldn't really say after, but much with God is helping us, COVID is taking the backstage now. A lot of businesses have collapsed. The small businesses that will really ginger the local economy are no more. And I believe that as an entrepreneur with an entrepreneurial spirit, we can support small, medium enterprises so as to create jobs for our teeming youths, because we need to ensure that we move our youths off the streets. Giving them handout is not really the way to go. We need to create jobs by ensuring that we create the local economy and support the local economy. So I'm coming with that enterprising spirit to ensure that we create business hubs for our people. We create, support the small, medium enterprises, and then ensure that there is job in Akwa Ibom. Should be able to ensure that we create the opportunity for our youth in agri businesses and create food value chain that our people will be able to work in those agri settlement farms, and we have a full value chain on the farm. People then can work on a price, because we are going to have, if you have a farm of 100 hectares, for example, a local government or combined local government, you make sure that they produce all of what, maybe cassava, you have your gari, you have your starch and all of that. You move to another local government. There are other areas you support, artisans, you support the creative and entertainment industries, you support ICT, which is the era of the revolution we have now.
You've spent a lot of your time in Akwa Ibom. Some will say, well, that is a good quality, because it means that we are not like some other candidates who only come to their states when they want to seek political office, that you've actually been spending a lot of your time, a lot of your years, you spend them there. But some people say in the modern era, that is limited. Now, how do you navigate that advantage and perhaps the possible weakness of being a local?
For the record, I used to live in Lagos and I'm a Lagos boy. And Lagos is the commercial nerve center of this country. There's no part of Lagos I don't know. I returned to Akwa Ibom in 1995 to start a business. I'm constantly and consistently in Lagos. And by extension, the world again is a global village. So living anywhere on the face of this earth doesn't take away creativity, doesn't take away entrepreneurship, you only move to where you know you have comparative advantage. So living here doesn't, it's just that there are opportunities more here in Akwa Ibom, to be honest, for entrepreneurship than in Lagos. You know, what you do here had become a star. You struggle with it in Lagos. So the truth is, this is where to be right now. This is where to be. The opportunities abound here. What I see as low-hanging fruits abound here. So as someone who have seen this happen in Lagos, you simply want to replicate some of those things back home and create the opportunity. There's no reason why we can't create a Lagos in Akwa Ibom, because we have, everything is green here. And so it's a lot of advantage to actually stay here. And that's the truth about it. It works better. And you have a sort of mixed bag. You've been everywhere. My father was a policeman, and as a policeman's son, I lived in the barracks all around this country, from Kaduna to Kano to Lagos to Abeokuta to Ibadan. I've been everywhere. So it prepared, I see God, you know, all of this today, I see it as God who has the destiny of men in his hands, having prepared me all through life's journey for a time like this. I believe destiny now calls on me to take the Akwa Ibom people to the promised land.
What about your educational background actually prepares you for this job? Well, we've spoken about your pastoralism, your entrepreneurism, your experience in governance and all of that. So what about your educational background prepares you for it? And I want you to help me look at this issue. Is your training in education specifically important for governance?
Oh, yes. Let me take that very quickly. Education is the bedrock of everything. A knife in the hand of a madman will kill. A knife in the hand of a doctor will heal. So that shows you that without education, you can't really go too far. The quality of education you have will tell on how the kind of leadership you bring to bear. I went to school, started my primary school in Ikeja, Lagos, the local authority primary school. I went to Victory High School, Ikeja, Lagos. Onigbagbo, as it is called, you know, that's where I went to secondary school. And then, of course, straight from school, because I needed to support the family. My father, like I told you, was a policeman, had a large family. I don't know if policemen have stopped having large families now. So I had to support the family. And so I went straight to work and support the family, and then grew up from there. When I returned back to Akwa Ibom, I attended the University of Uyo, where I read political science for my first degree, and went on to do my master's. I'm currently writing my thesis for my PhD in public administration. Like I've said, all of this, with hindsight, to look back, had prepared me for a time like this. So I am educationally ready, emotionally ready, intellectually ready, and spiritually ready to lead and to serve the people of Akwa Ibom State.
How did you combine doing your PhD and working as a commissioner? And what is the topic of your PhD?
My dissertation is on curbing restiveness in the Niger Delta area. It's a strong point, and of course that again will bring me to bear onto all of the things that we are going to do to curb youth restiveness, you know, in Akwa Ibom, because it's a major point that I'm working on right now. Now, combining all of that, I had started doing my PhD program before I became a commissioner. I did it as a businessman. It's just that you have to manage your time. You have to manage your time well. One of the greatest things about leadership is time management. And part of the things that our youth have also gotten into right now is because they don't know how to manage their time. They are not disciplined in terms of time management. You have 24 hours in a day, and people must just multitask. I think I have the grace, by the grace of God, to multitask, and you can do whatever you set out to do if you can be disciplined and be accountable with your time. And that's what it is.
Given your topic, it's very interesting. I didn't know that's what you're talking about, restiveness. What is what fresh insights do you think? Can give us a little expo into your dissertation? What fresh insights have you had? Have you been surprised by some of the findings in your research?
Very surprised, because you see, when we talk, we can label all our youths as militants for all we care, but how many of us are really taking time to know why the restiveness? We must begin to find out that when there are no jobs for them to do, when the resources of the region they are being exploited, it is terrible for you to see that the Niger Delta region produces oil for this country, and a whole lot of that, there's not much happening, even with the creation of the Niger Delta Ministry. You still find out that there's not much happening to let the people see the benefits of the oil within this region. And then you see countries like, let's take Dubai, just around here, and you see the same thing they have, and it's been, the people can use it. It has to do with the leadership that we have, really. So we have to change this leadership and ensure that these youths and the young ones also have the benefits. A lot of them are widely read. I've interacted with our youth. They've been to school, they come back, their parents are still giving them pocket money. At a stage, you just feel very frustrated and they lose hope. So one of the things we must understand is that the day a man gets to lose hope about life, he can destroy everything and destroy himself because he has no hope. So we must consistently ensure that we do things and strengthen our institutions and get our youth to have hope in the system. Most of the Niger Delta youth, to be honest with you, have lost hope in leadership. And government has to do a lot to give them that hope back again, that it will be better with us, tomorrow is better than today, by ensuring that, see, what we like doing around, which we must change, is that we just believe that we can come around and give these youths handouts. We throw money around them. We buy old cars for them. I'm giving you a car. I've empowered you with car. How many of us grew up with this kind of empowerment? So you know yourself, and we can ask this to the Akwa Ibom people. There's no great man that have lived on handouts. They won't. How do you marry? How do you build a house? How do you pay your children's school fees? You keep depending on one person. It's mind control. And so I have to believe that the Niger Delta region can be better if we have our leadership right. And to be honest with you, this is an opportunity to make Akwa Ibom a model. Udom Emmanuel, our governor, has already set it on track, and we just need to progress it.
Thank you. I mean, let me ask the last question. Would you have run for the post of governor if Udom Emmanuel had not singled you out? Put it that way.
Every leader is called to serve. Every leader is called to serve. I do not, to answer your question directly, maybe no, I wouldn't have. But if not just to Udom Emmanuel, the cross-section of stakeholders of Akwa Ibom have looked at your life, have looked at the fact that you've been able to manage your business in the last 30 years in Akwa Ibom, and from 5 rooms that have grown to become a conglomerate, and you have diversified, you've provided jobs for about 2,500 people in Akwa Ibom, and you've paid them salaries consistently over the years, and you have been able to manage such a conglomerate without being in politics, and you've shown competency, you've shown capacity, you've shown character, and they invite you and say, look, we believe you can run this race. Of course, let me also say this in closing, that each and every one of us who had looked forward to running this race, we were actually waiting for the endorsement of Governor Udom Emmanuel. because you know that he's the one sitting now as the governor. Like I said at the beginning, he knows the best person who can. So it was not like I said, anointed, chosen. No, it was an endorsement. And that endorsement, I must also admit, means a lot, to the race. So everyone can endorse, but the endorsement of the governor and the cross-section of the Akwa Ibom people is a call to service. And there is no way I can turn down that service, because this is destiny beckoning on you to take the Akwa Ibom people out of this mental, slavery and make them get back to work.
And on that note, I say a very big thank you to you, Umo Eno, for the time you've given us to get into your life and your vision for Akwa Ibom State. I wish you good luck, and thank you very much for being on this show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My poem on the politician will be read to you.
The Oga made a law no one held in awe before it went awry, because an officer executed an innocent ending in an execution of the wrong person, the big man's son. Oga's ogre, a hoodlum's augury, stood in defiant luxury, a mistaken identity. What a spectacle! That very son, a grave miscalculation.
Thank you for being on this show. You can join my column at www.omatseye.com. And until next time, be good.